And I think we're live. Welcome back to Cautiously Optimistic, the LOI TV live show, episode 3. Apologies for the delay. We're a couple of minutes late. We're just waiting on one more to come in. We're joined by Mark this week, so we're just waiting for him. A few technical difficulties on his end. But yeah, we'll be someone else join us in a few minutes, hopefully. But yeah, the three of us for the time being. And yeah, lads, how we keep?
Good. Good to see you.
Yeah, not too bad. Good to see you. Good to be back. Regular on this show now. So Jesus, logging up the hours on this channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, lads, if you don't mind dropping a like on the stream before we get going, and subscribe as well. We're on the road to 3K. We're getting there slowly but surely, but it is greatly appreciated if you do subscribe. So yeah, I suppose. Well, actually, Griff, you were just saying there you have to see like breaking news nearly that John Egan is after coming off on a stretcher and they're playing West Ham.
Yeah, playing West Ham. Just seeing there, he got stretchered off. Bit of a nightmare, like. So hopefully he's all right. There's Mark.
It's not better yet.
Hey, Mark.
How are you, Mark?
Hey, Mark.
Man himself.
Friend of the show.
Just a few technical difficulties on that end, but I think
it should be okay. Yeah.
But Johnny Egan on the stretcher, Griff, wasn't it?
Yeah, so John Egan just got stretchered off, so hopefully that's not too serious. Seemed like it was a foot or a leg injury. A huge player for Sheffield. So Sheffield are probably going to be in more trouble than they are already. Like, so I feel sorry for them. But as much as he's a crucial player for us, really, he's going to be crucial for the next few months. Hopefully, it's not too serious. Like we're already talking about who could replace him. Potentially, maybe Kieran Clark and Darragh O'Shea coming in. But like, still, you'd rather have him in. Like. Yeah, but to be fair, like he's probably Sheffield's best player. Mark's gone again. Probably Sheffield's best player this season, really. Like, so pretty sad. Hopefully he's okay. Yeah, he is. Yeah, so and Biddy Sharp actually, I think so.
Biddy Sharp is one, but he doesn't play.
Yeah, no. But yeah, hopefully he's okay.
Huge blow ahead of March. The squad being announced in March, obviously. Is Wednesday? What date's the match again? I feel like I always get told.
24th or 6th. I think, but the squad is usually like 10 days before.
It's mid-March probably.
Yeah. So like, hopefully it's nothing serious. But on the other hand, it could be a huge chance for Darragh O'Shea or Kieran Clark starting tonight against Chelsea to come in and kind of make a name for themselves.
For sure.
But like, obviously Egan be first choice over them too. Usually.
Yeah. Here's Mark now. Hopefully this is all good. Mark, here's. Maybe not. But I'll actually on better.
Yeah, a bit better now. Yeah. It's still a bit broken, but I can make it out. Yeah, sorry about
that. That's okay.
No, it's not worries.
Mark, we got you on. Obviously, Limerick United fans. So we're going to actually. But might as well jump straight into it and talk about Treaty United. What do you know about them so far? And is it looking likely that they'll go ahead and get the license for this upcoming season? I don't know if you got that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, for an update on Limerick's situation, Ross, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Treaty United, yeah.
Yeah, I can make a question. So, from what I can gather, it's looking pretty good anyway. That there will be a Limerick team in the league for the coming season. What I believe is delaying proceedings. Number one is the licensing on that aspect, but I think secondly, there seems to be an issue with Shamrock Rovers B team. I don't know if they're trying to block Treaty United getting in, or are they trying to get in with their old to maintain their place from last year? But it seems that Rovers B.
That's annoying as well. Like, yeah, it's kind of interesting as well. Like you're saying that if Rovers be potentially blocking that, like it would be a bit of a shame as well. I think if they gave
isn't it?
Yeah, like if they gave a spot to Shamrock Rovers second team instead of giving it to an actual bona fide football team, like from a place like.
This connection's really bad. Sorry about that.
No, it's grand. So we got most of that, Mark. So what you were saying was potentially blocking, like Shamrock Rovers B team, potentially blocking that. So it'd be a bit of a shame. Do you think it would be a bit of a shame, obviously, if if Rovers got the nod ahead of Treaty United, from Limerick yourself, like where there's actually like a, kind of a need for a football team there. So.
Yeah, so basically, from what I'm hearing is that the application is looking good. It's just a problem with Rovers B team. They were in the league last year, and from what I can gather is that there was an agreement that they would not apply to be in the league this year.
I forgot to say.
Every time the guy gets into a bit of a flow of things, like
But the first thing that popped into my head there was, like, why is the licensing taking so long? It kind of sounds like Shamrock Rovers B team are kind of trying to prolong this and trying to block it. The team with the most resources in the country, the most weight from the FAI. Pretty disappointing, kind of what Mark is saying from a Limerick point of view.
definitely. Yeah,
I think we've Mark back. Can you hear us, Mark? There's a few technical difficulties.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. My connection. I've never seen this connection this bad for some reason.
Oh, it's no worries.
Must be the wind out this direction.
It's great.
We're just talking about.
From what I'm hearing is that the application is quite solid, and it's going to happen. It's just a matter of trying to come up with a configuration for the league. Will it be 12 teams or 10 teams? So it'll be Rovers B, Limerick, and this Dublin County outfit as well.
County,
is what I'm hearing. So
you'd rather see that as well. Like instead of a 10-team league, you would actually like to see a 12-team league because it'd be more interesting. I think. He's gone again, but like more, more exposure league. It'll be good as well. Like the guy pops in for 30 seconds and bounces. Like
you're just knocking on the head.
Because whenever he's on Presumer and the connection's perfect, it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, he's usually perfect. But like my question there would be like, if it was to be a 12-team league, surely they'd have that in the fixtures. Because at the moment, by the fixtures, it's just a 10-team league.
There's one team.
There's one
TBC or whatever.
TBC. So it'd be great if there was a 12-team league, but I suppose Mark knows more about that than we do.
Yeah,
I can finally hear you now. So hopefully the audio is fixed.
Hopefully that's sorted.
I think a 12-team league would be great. Yeah, it would be good from both perspectives. Because I think eventually down the line it might lead back to potentially a 12-team Premier Division, which I think is what everybody wants. So you need to get 2 teams extra back into Division 1, and then be in the following season or maybe 2 years' time. But it's looking like, from what I'm hearing, possibly a 12-team Division 1. So I think there's a second set of fixtures, a standby set of fixtures, which will be published if the 12 teams are admitted to the league, and that's what it looks to be so far. So we'll see what happens there. But I think Treaty United will be a pretty stable club. There's a couple of good people involved, a couple of local councillors involved, a couple of big business people involved, and a couple of older supporters as well. So the welfare of the club, there'll be no question about that. I think while there's not a big, huge investor there, I think they'll be very well run, and that their heart will be in the right place. I think there's been a lot of damage done in the previous club with the loss of breaking down relations with fans and sponsors and all of that. So I think that's the first kind of task, is to reestablish the faith with fans and local investors and sponsors. That's been a big problem for the last, probably go back 30, 40 years, to be quite honest. So I think, the people running the club are under no illusion that they have to go in and they have to address the failings of the past, not just putting a team together and trying to get into Europe straight away. Priorities are to put a club in place that's going to be stable and that can build out for the future, because they do have a pretty good stadium to play from and a good population centre. And there shouldn't be any problem getting players, to be honest. Although I can't see Jack Byrne coming to them anytime soon, but I think still there'll be there should be a reasonable amount of players in the region. And I think when you look at currently all the amateur football is off, and Limerick will be an amateur team. So there won't be any problem attracting amateur players because there'll be an abundance of them looking to play football at the moment because amateur football is off. So I think they won't have any problem getting up and running, getting off the ground. I'll just worry maybe in 3 or 4 years' time if they don't get the people behind them, and will it just wilt away, or will it keep getting bigger and bigger? I think like Tommy Barrett was on the radio during the week, and he said multiple times that his objective is to get a club into the Premier Division and have them there for 10, 12 years and make them a very stable entity and build support bit by bit and establish the club as a Premier club, not as a yo-yo club, which is what they've been. And a yo-yo club is probably be more generous to them because they've been down more than what they've been up.
Yeah.
So it's a WB job there. But I think there's a lot of cynicism down there as well. Like people expect the club to fail because they've had several different guises over the years. And my brother was involved in it for a while, and he kind of gave me the idea of the difficulties they're up against. And a lot of times it can be trying to get players in, trying to get managers in, and dealing with contracts, and because it generally boils down to money. But the problem down there is that you find that
oh, there we go.
You had him for a good while there as well. Well, I think he got a lot of points in, which is interesting.
I'm sure, I suppose in Limerick, especially like you've Thomond Park, and Limerick's traditionally big hurling and football county, so they'll have a lot of work to do, like getting fans on their side, and kind of build it from the ground up again.
Yeah, and he's just saying Tommy Barrett has been appointed manager, so that's obviously shown that they are confident of getting into getting their license put through. We were just talking there about Mark, about Tommy Barrett being appointed as manager. It shows that they do have confidence of the decision being a positive one ahead of the. Is it 1 or 2 weeks time? I think when they're going to find out.
The 19th, I think, Adam had.
19th, yeah. 19th of Feb. So that's what, about a week away.
Yeah, not 4 days away.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Gee.
I'm not sure if Mark can hear us.
My audio's gone bad again, lads. But just to finish my point there, sorry, I think you can hear me, but I'm not getting any audio in. But basically, the people running the club are quite optimistic that they can get this up and running. And I think the good part of it is that the supporters from the last number of years, because they did build a support base up to a reasonable level, and that support base is quite willing to come back in again, back into the club. And I think that bodes very well. Like so, while they're starting off with a clean slate, I think that there is a goodwill factor there from the support base that was there. I did take quite a number of years to build up, but I think that's going to be the litmus test. Are these supporters going to be happy enough to go back in and endure a few tough years at the bottom of Division 1? Because, like, let's face it, they're not going to be competitive next year. Or sorry, this year. Not with an amateur team. There's not a hope. So will the fans stick with them? They're going to need 500 or 600 people.
No.
All right.
500 or 600 people at games. Do you think that's realistic for Treaty United when the grounds reopen? Probably in and around that figure.
It's Limerick. Like, they haven't had a football team for a few years, so like you'd imagine so. It kind of buzz around having a new football team in the area. You'd hope that 500 to 600 people would turn up. Like,
yeah, for sure. Because I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying like, are Limerick fans going to go and support Treaty United? And it's been overwhelming. Like, yes, I'll support.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and even what he was saying about getting the club or getting fans back on side and stuff. Like, if there's a good effort to like connect with the fans from the start, then definitely, like, if people get on board, it could work.
For sure. I think Mark is back. Well, I'm not sure if you can hear us.
Definitely can't hear us.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry about that again. I'm sorry.
Oh my god!
But yeah, I think we mentioned.
Every time we do a Zoom, I'm like, the connection's perfect. Like, it's so strange that because he's been on the channel before, you might have seen him do some Irish videos and stuff, and usually the connection is perfect.
But yeah, you think we said it before. Tommy Barrett being named manager, like you'd like to think like there's a really good chance their application going through.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Just pop it in, saying, "Yeah, no, they're really good." And just leaving.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, lads.
Here we go.
Back
You
again.
hear us, Mark? Don't think so.
So doing sign language, like nod 1 3.
Hey guys, sorry about that again. I just keep losing it here. There must be something going on with my connection again. Sorry about that.
No,
I
worries,
tried my
worries.
hotspotting as well. I tried 2 laptops. I think you might have picked up some of the stuff about 3D, my points there. But I think finally on that, I think in the last year they have kind of shown that they can run a club. The women's section has been quite successful by all accounts. Quite competitive with the women's team. I think they made the semi-final as well of their section. So I think that shows that they're capable of putting together a well-organized operation, and they are serious about getting a competitive team. I just think in the first couple of years it won't be near the upper reaches of Division 1, but I think maybe in 2 or 3 years that'll be the case, and then get back to the Premier, and hopefully the good times will come back then. And we'll bring you all down for a few beers.
Sounds good. Can't hear us like.
That was good.
That was a good ending, to be fair. Yeah.
Good ending that time.
Yeah, no, what a legend, man. That's annoying as well, because usually he'd actually be good to talk about stuff. Like, he's very knowledgeable, as you can probably tell. Like, he knows his stuff. Like,
I think when Limerick were gone, he was a bow season ticket holder, I think, as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hopefully, this is it.
I can finally hear you.
Can you hear it?
We're good.
All right, fine. Yeah, okay.
I can finally hear you properly. Yeah.
Nice.
We're just saying you were a bow season ticket holder in the year that was just gone there. Will you be kind of trying to get as many Treaty United games as you can when it gets back up and running when the government restrictions die down or whatever? Will you be trying to get to a few games? No. There we go.
What was that question, Ron?
Sorry, I was just asking. When the restrictions obviously die down, you're obviously saying you're a bow season ticket holder last season. Will you be trying to get to as many Treaty United games as you can? Do you kind of see them in the same way as Limerick beforehand? I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah, I didn't get the question. Oh, sorry, Ross.
No worries. Let's move on, actually, lads, to obviously Griff. You're talking about John Egan's injury beforehand there.
Yeah.
In some more positive news from an Irish point of view, the rumours surrounding David McGoldrick, the facts around his supposed return, is that he has changed his Instagram profile picture to an Ireland jersey. First of all, he's deleted his Instagram post in which he said he retired from international football, which is a big tell, surely. He's added FA Ireland back into his bio. Despite all that, Stephen Kenny is unaware of his return and has said that McGoldrick hasn't made any approach or hasn't made any indication that he would like to resume his international career. So it still is up in the air, but there are some positive signs, definitely, in terms of, I'm not sure if it's a conspiracy, but there's some positive signs for sure.
It's definitely not a conspiracy. He couldn't make it any more clearer, deleting the retirement post and putting not even an Ireland flag, but like FAI Ireland in the bio. What are we just over a month out from the World Cup qualifiers? I definitely take him.
100%.
He's super to have around the dressing room. I know the only one goal for Ireland thing stat stands, but like we've seen for Sheffield as well, his work off the ball, dropping deep, trying to link up play, creating chances. Like, he'd be a huge boost if he came back. Yeah, definitely.
For sure. And also with the I was kind of holding out some sort of hope that Paddy Bamford would potentially declare for Ireland this year. I just had a weird feeling.
Paddy Bamford.
Paddy Bamford. Yeah, you don't get much more harsh than that. But obviously there was I think he did an interview with M&F after a game there a week or two ago. I sent it into the group, and Jamie Carragher was asking about his English chances, and he was like sounded hopeful of getting a call up. So you'd say that's if he as well if he didn't comment on it or something like that, or said so that he didn't want to speak about that, you'd hold some sort of hope for Ireland. But the fact he doesn't seem like he wants to play for Ireland, you then rule it out, I feel. So that makes getting Dizzy on board even more important, you feel?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was actually, it got pointed out to me. There's a podcast, 3 Points podcast, a few lads that are a few years below us, they have a podcast. They actually pointed out David McGoldrick doing it first. Before I'd seen it, like literally, it was probably like 16 hours before anyone else had seen it. Like, so I only seen it when they put it up. So they were one of the first to pick up on it. Like, and then it seemed like even when we put out the post, a few hours later, then there was another big Twitter account which put it up and got some steam. So there was clearly a bit of excitement about it. Like, and to be honest, like it's not, so much excitement as because he's known for like be a prolific goal scorer or whatever, but he's a good player to have in the team. Like, he'll work well in the system. Well, especially when we have like players like Adam Ida and Troy Parrott, who just aren't at that level yet. Like Sean Maguire and stuff, he's just not really like a bona fide goal scorer. Well, neither is David, but like
Long has been playing and stuff as well.
And then you're looking at I think James Collins as well. Like you definitely take McGoldrick over him.
Yeah, 100%. He's an experienced Premier League striker, really. Like, and he's done well in the Premier League. Especially in the struggling Sheffield United team. Like, he's been one of the best players. Like, think of some of the goals he scored. Scored a cracking goal against Arsenal. Really good goal against Chelsea as well this season. Like, so why wouldn't you take him? And to be honest, like, I don't see like what the harm is. He's probably thinking he's going down with Sheffield. Realistically, he's going to get relegated. So he's probably thinking, why not have a crack at a World Cup qualifier while I'm at it? Like, it's going to be his last chance, So I know he wanted to focus on team or club football for a while, but I mean, realistically, Sheffield are going down, so there would be no reason for him not to come back into the fold. Like,
That's a great point, actually. Yeah, great point.
Think of like if Sheffield United were comfortably mid-table and he had another year of Premier League football to play, then he mightn't be inclined to return. But the fact I don't think a Premier League club will take a punt on him. I don't think so. If you go down at 33 years old, I don't think a Premier League team buys him. So he's probably thinking like, I was going to be a championship player. I don't have any more Premier League years left in me. I might as well just keep playing international football. It's the only way he's going to play at the highest level probably moving forward after this season has ended, you feel. But at the same time, he'd be great. It'd be a great, huge boost to have him around for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I do. Obviously, we'd all love to have him back up top. There's a few other strikers as well, but I think he's just ahead of them in terms of where he is currently. But a former Irish striker, John Walters. This is a bit of a mad one. He's in the running for CEO of the English PFA. I'll just read out some of the stuff. So he's applied to be the new chief executive of the Professional Footballers Association. He's very passionate about it, he said. And he said, and I quote, "I feel I am the right man for the job because players can relate to me. I've played in every league. I've captained clubs. I've captained my country. I've been involved on the management committee of the PFA. I like leading." So it's an interesting one. Do you think he could have any future involvement in the FAI potentially or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice, to be honest, though. He's like I think it would be better if it was led by a former player as well. Eventually, I know we had Niall Quinn near the fold for a while. Obviously, he was CEO at Sunderland before that, I'm pretty sure. Like, he was on the board at Sunderland. Like, he's kind of experienced. But I do think it would be nice, like, to have him in around. If he does get the PFA, like, fair play to him. Good appointment. Like, he was a big leader in the Irish dressing room. And he's a good lad as well. So, it would be nice to see him. Like,
yeah, definitely. I was reading a few of his. It's scored 2 versus Bosnia to send us to Euro 2016. Great night. Yeah. But I was reading some of his points on Twitter. He mentioned like 7 or 8 points he wants to, if he gets elected to the PFA, that he wants to bring in, like making the PFA much more player-centered. He said there's lots of players now that don't know half the services available to them. Go to clubs, make players aware of what's available, create like a PFA player hub or cafe where like past and present players can go and chat and seek out services. So on the face of it, he's thought it through really well. It's not just like he thought of it the other day.
Definitely.
So best of luck to him.
No, for sure. And I'd like to be like we said, he plans to increase support for players' mental and physical long-term health, which I think is a huge problem for players when they retire from the game. A lot of them don't know what's next in their careers and stuff like
I think
that.
there was the dementia point as well.
Yeah. It would include investing more money in supporting youngsters who fall out of the academy system and helping retired players, which I felt. I keep forgetting the name of the show. Soccer. What was the name of that program? The Irish program.
Out of our league, out of
Our league,
yeah.
Yeah. But it's just talking about players who fall out of the academy system and stuff like that. What was the stat? There was some crazy stat on players that haven't finished their leaving cert and then gone over to England and stuff, wasn't there? There was like
I think it was more than half.
Yeah.
Players that gone over to England under the age of 18 like hadn't completed the leaving cert. And we all know like it's only the top 1 or 2 or 3% that make it like across the water. Now under 18 players will not be allowed to go over to England because of the new I think it's the Brexit rules. So we'll see a lot more players kind of staying home, completing their leaving cert, and then going over when they're ready. And it's a whole different conversation, but that has a lot of work to do with the FAI and the League of Ireland now to get probably the 2 best academies in the. Sorry, Giroud just scored 1-0. Where was I?
It's Reece James.
No. But there's a lot of work. Savage goal. There's a lot of work now for the FAI to bring like our academies up to a decent standard because we've had 20 years of under 18 players going over to England. So our academies here, probably bar Rovers in the last few years, have really stagnated. And so there's a huge opportunity for the FAI now to improve our academies because players under 18 won't be going over to England until after the leaving cert.
Yeah, I think as well it was a good move. Gavin Bazunu, who before he went over to City, he did his leaving cert in Dundrum or wherever. But like there was a contract where he'd sit his leaving cert then move over. Which makes way more sense. Like because if you're a kid and you're 16, you go over to England and it doesn't work out for you and you come back. Like it's like what options do you have? I remember even when we were 15, 16. I remember pretty clearly Dara Leahy and Zach Elbazetti went over to England, and I know we wouldn't have known him. Dara Ross, you wouldn't have known him, but I remember seeing on Facebook, obviously from Malahide United, they were going over to England. We were doing our junior cert, that's crazy young. That's young, and if you it's a serious experience going over to England that young by yourself, really. And if it doesn't work out for you, it could be pretty horrible, I'd say. Like coming back and you're kind of looking around saying, what next? So I do think, it's beneficial as well that if we had more players, playing in the League of Ireland until a higher age here, and then English clubs could potentially look at the League of Ireland as a viable place to get younger players, actually paying transfer fees for players, more income for the League of Ireland. If you're buying a player at the age of 18, 19, and actually paying a transfer fee as opposed to some sort of compensation when they're 15, 16, do you know what I mean? It might be better for development League of Ireland. So
yeah, for sure. I think we have Mark back up, but I think the audio is still acting up a little bit, is it? I think it might be still acting up a small bit. Yeah. But,
that would be yes.
Yeah. But I just wanted to touch on because I was actually recently on, I'll give it a shout out to Green Machine podcast with a few other lads that they started to talk about all things kind of Irish football as well, and they're it was talking about watch LOI, and kind of naturally that went into talking about how can we make the League of Ireland more attractive kind of moving forward and stuff. And I suppose breaking news today, maybe the first sign of some progression is the Daily Mount redevelopment. I'm not sure if one of you want to have a quick chat about that, but with the facts and figures, but it looks like great news.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was 985 grand, was it? Awarded.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry, Vernon. Guy can't catch a break. I think it was 900 odd grand awarded by Dublin City Council for the Daily Mount redevelopment. I think it was announced 4 or 5 years ago, kind of the plans for it, and for one reason or another, it hasn't kind of progressed as much as they'd hoped. But the plans for it are amazing, to make not only like a savage stadium, but like a hub for the community in Phibsborough. So it'll be a huge boost for League of Ireland. Like we all know, like the standard of the stadiums in League of Ireland isn't the best. So Bar Tallaght Stadium, like this redevelopment will bring Dalymount to the standard of Tallaght Stadium, if not better. So yeah, it'd be massive when it's done.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, it's a good point as well. I do think it's one step forward in a greater scheme of things. Like even I don't think Dalymount's not not in the best nick by anyone's standards. But if you look at other stadiums around the country, like Oriel Park is just in shocking nick. Like, and Dundalk in Europa League, So I think it's one step, like really, in a greater scheme of things. Hopefully, Dalymount getting redeveloped will kick on. You like to see other stadiums getting redeveloped and kind of pushing Ireland into modern era of football. Some of the states that you see, like even the changing rooms around the League of Ireland stuff, it's not to a high standard. Like if you want to make a fully professional league, you have to bring it up to a fully professional standard. So hopefully it's a part of a greater scheme,
And it'll hopefully pay for itself in time. Like the stadium build hopefully in time will like host maybe a bit of boxing or like live concerts and stuff. Like we all know famously, I think Thin Lizzy and Bob Marley have played Dalymount before. So there's a lot of like music history in Dalymount. So to have concerts there again would be amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Bose said today, Dalymount Park, the home of Irish football, will soon once again be the best stadium in the league. A little bit of a dig there, you feel?
It'd be nice, yeah.
We'll deliver.
I still think it's a little bit small for the for what they need. Like I think 6,000 is still far too small, and I think when you look at they're spending like 34 million to add 2,200 to the capacity, and I think I know they're putting in a library and a cafe and all that other stuff and offices, but I think when you look at the actual capacity side of things, I think it's a huge amount of expenditure for a very small increase in the amount of punters that you can bring into the place, and it'll probably be probably fine for concerts because you can use the pitch and all that stuff, and it'll be more amenable. It'll be car parks and whatever there. And it'll probably be a lot better for concerts and things like that than compared to the RDS, for example. But I think on the football side of things, I think they've missed a trick there in terms of the capacity, because you even see for now they can't even cater for the amount of fans going up, even for an ordinary game, not even a Rovers game. But if they're playing like Derry, for example, like last year, 500 people couldn't get into a Derry game, up in Dalymount. So I think they're not catering for the projected increase, and that's without Bose even getting into European games. Even for the league games, they can't even fulfill the demand as it is. So I think they should really try and scale up to 8,000 or 10,000. But I know there's difficulties with planning and this, that, and the other, and different stakeholders. But I think for the future, and especially with Shell's getting bigger support. When they play Shell's Rovers now, Shell's is a big draw as well up there, and they need to bring that capacity up another little bit as well, so you can get people into the games. And there's no point in people saying, how do you get people in the games, and then you can't let them in. I mean, the plenty of questions. How do we get people into the game? Sorry, you're not coming in tonight. Sorry about that. Come back from playing Waterford. So and that I think is counterproductive when you're spending so much money to try and get people in and develop a world class, and by all accounts it's going to be a world class facility, and people still can't get into the game. And then in contrast, like Richmond Park or other places like that half the ground is, they've torn the shed out, the top off the shed, for example, and people can't even get in out of the rain. So I think they need to maybe have a more level playing field across the league, and try and build them all the grounds up across the board in parallel with each other, and not have 2 or 3 world class stadiums and a couple of like Oriel Park with a big grassy mound behind the bloody goal, and because I think is another thing to take in. And I think you spoke earlier on when my audio was bad about increasingly, with the popularity of the league. And I think a lot of that is first impressions. People look at the game and goes, I'm not going there. But if you look at a proper stadium, and I think Talon, when that's rounded off the fourth stand, like more and more people will want to go there when they see a really nice stadium with a nice atmosphere and their floodlights and a game of football on a Friday night. But I think why spend all this money and then you're saying, and from what I look at the plan at Diamond Park there, it's very limited. It's not scalable. You can't you're going to rip out a stand to put in another one, for example. It's not like they are allowing space for growth. There's no space for growth there. So I think that's a bit of a problem as well. And in 10 years' time, like, what are they going to do? 20 years' time, what are they going to do? Like Dynamos had a capacity of 40,000 like not so long ago, and now they're putting all this money into it just to bring up to 6,000. And I think it's obviously Bowes. That's probably the best deal they could get out of the whole thing. But I think it's just a pity they can only get 6,000 people. But maybe that will be subject to change. I think in time, because I know a lot of people are looking for this as well. Because you beat Cup semi-finals and that, and the thousands of people can't get in, and that's not good for the game. I think
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Daniel Deneen just said hopefully Daily Mount will be future proofed and can be expanded up past 10,000, which is kind of touching on what you were talking about, Mark. That would be brilliant if they can put some sort of thing in where they can be able to extend onto a stand and make it a bit bigger and add a couple of thousand onto it. Because as this is saying here, this comment, Dublin Derby would easily attract over 15,000 fans, considering Tala is a sellout for them most times. And to play each other in the cup final, you'd expect over 30,000 easily.
Definitely, yeah.
As well.
That's a great point. Now, I didn't realize that the new stadium development was only, I think, 6,000. You said, like surely you'd want almost close to 10. As you said, Mark, there's no point like encouraging people to go to the games and support the local club if you're turning a few hundred people away at the door, like you said before.
They won't go back.
Exactly.
Then after that, like
for sure.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll be. Hopefully it'll be expanded.
Tickets,
Yeah. Season tickets.
But yeah, hopefully it's kind of like a positive step for the league, and we can start seeing more investment. But as you're saying, it kind of needs to be more like hopefully like the Finn Harps can get it then, and then other teams like that can start moving towards getting better stadiums, because we're at Dundalk as well. Obviously, Oriel Park is just an absolute nightmare. Like, is it?
Yeah, that's another question. Like, sorry to interrupt you. I don't know why like Dundalk's investors Peak Six like investing a few million into the club and all the European money, like there hasn't been a word said about Oriel and what they're going to do there.
Because wasn't it they were trying to get into the Aviva or something, wasn't it? They were trying to get to play their home games there.
Jeez, Dundalk playing the Aviva, like there's no sense, like two different counties, like it's close to fucking Belfast, like
MK Dons and Wimbledon or something, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, you can't have that, like that's ridiculous. That's just really foreign owners, like.
Yeah, it'd be really nice if like Dundalk capitalised on their recent success, and I don't think I've seen any reports about Oriel Park. If there's plans for that, like we went a few times season before last, and yeah, for a team that's won the league 3 or 4 times in the last 5 or 6 years, like they have to put money into the stadium and improve it, like, and they play on Astro, like.
Yeah, it's a crap Astro as well. I've done it once before and it's dire, like. Dear me, like.
It's not great, like.
Touching on Dundalk, I suppose we'll touch on Pat Hoban coming out a bit of a shithousery comment leading into the start of the new season. I'm not sure if
Hope permitted.
Pat Hope permitted, yeah. But he came out with some comments about Shamrock Rovers. He claimed that he would not have celebrated the league if Dundalk had won the league last year. Easy to say when you don't win the league that you wouldn't have celebrated it, obviously, but he did say it's a proper league, isn't it? You're telling me that winning the league after 18 games is winning a league title. It's not. What do you make of those comments?
I think that's gas. I love to see that, to be honest with you. I think that's just brilliant. Like,
it's good leading into the start of the season.
It's good. It's great rivalry, and like obviously Dundalk beating them in the final. Like, you just love to see a bit of rivalry, honestly. And you know what? Like, it's not the worst point to make, because there is, like, even though Rovers were obviously they're by far and away the best team in the league last season. There's no doubt about that. Like, I mean, they're unbeaten, but there's still an asterisk there. There is, like, I mean, it's fair to say, like, You know, so it
Dundalk were so far behind. Like,
yeah, it is a bit rich coming from Dundalk. Like we were properly struggling, but it is funny. You do like to see a bit of rivalry, but yeah, I thought it was funny all the same. Like,
I'm not sure if you can hear us, Mark. Did you see Pat Hoban's comments about Shamrock Rovers and the league title
I
win?
saw that. Yeah, well, I had to kind of laugh as well because I hope Pat Hoban remembers that the FAI Cup was shortened as well.
Yeah,
I think they skipped around. They skipped around in the FAI Cup as well, like, you know. So, but they won the cup, and nobody's complaining about that, you know.
Brilliant.
Good point. It's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, definitely.
Athlone Town in the semi-final. Although you can't obviously can't draw, but it's a handy little draw. Athlone in the semi-final. A few comments coming in. My respect for Pat Hoban. Pat Hoban is lucky it was only 18 games. If it had been a full season, Rovers would have overlapped them.
That is so funny. Mario Kart, like.
Hoban jersey sales after that comment. A few Bows fans. And then I think Dundalk should just considering buying some nearby land and getting planning permission to start building different phases of the stadium. Not a bad point.
Yeah.
There probably is a bit of land in Dundalk as well, let's say. And something
Definitely.
somewhere like.
I'd say like out of all the teams in the country as well, they're like probably one of the most well off, especially after going to Europe. Like they have to be.
For sure.
Won the league, like he won the league the last few years. Like done real well. Like they definitely have, and Dundalk as well have a good fan base. Like so I mean, it would make sense if they like honestly if they could build a new stadium in theory. Like, you know, it will cost a lot of money. But yeah, I think it'll be good as well. There was a comment as well, I think, up there where he said Ireland. Des said as well, Ireland were the highest ranked country in Europe not to build a stadium in 2010s. That's telling, you know, that's very telling. So I do think like it would be nice as well. It'd be nice for Dundalk. And listen, we keep going on around the same point and saying like we want to see the league move forward and want to see the league redevelop, but like say it as many times, like if you don't have good facilities, you won't attract people. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. It is what it is. Like, and you know, if you're playing in Europe, and you can't even play your home games there, like even I think I'm pretty sure if Dundalk got into Europe, I don't think they'd even be able to play because the stadium's not UEFA properly ranked or whatever. Like,
that's right. Last season. Last season they'd play in Tala and the Viva, like. Well, yeah, really.
You know what I mean? Like,
disappointing, like.
Yeah, and if you want to make your team like a proper, like, and I presume obviously Dundalk fans will want it, and you think the owners will want it as well. You want to make them like a regular in the later stages of the Europa qualifying, going into Europa, especially with the Europa Conference League coming now. So there'll be like a definite opportunity for them to qualify for that. It's like the lower Europa League too. Do you not know that?
No, I didn't think I heard this. No.
A third,
Europa League too. Yes, there'll be like a third. So it'll be for the lower ranked team. So like, you know, Arsenal will be there next season. And, I think it's going to kind of be like, you know, the Intertoto Cup was a few years ago.
I remember that.
Yeah. But I think that'll be like, listen, there'll be money to be made there as well, like from UEFA. So if they want to make themselves a bona fide team, like in Europe, definitely invest the money, like.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Point here from Ryan Foley facing. Ryan Foley racing. It's like a tongue twister. Dundalk can draw a bigger social media following than Loud GAA, but it's the GA that gets a new all-seater, even though they're one of the worst GA teams in the country.
Yeah,
it's a fair point. Like, I suppose it might just be about like governance and raising finances. Like, I don't. It's a fair point, but I don't think it's fair to say like, look what they have, we should have the same. It's not the GAA's fault that like Louth got a new stadium and Dundalk or Drogheda haven't. But like, it shows that there's the appetite for. There's the demand in Louth for like a proper stadium as well. It popped into my mind there. Like, I haven't seen any plans for Oriel Park at all. So it'd be really nice if, like, I think they're well overdue. Same as probably most clubs in the League of Ireland. Like with Finn Harp Stadium, if you Google it, their new stand I think was built like 10 or 15 years ago, and it's just like a big like cement block, but you can see it like the steps going down, and it's been lying there for like 10 or 15 years. Nothing's been done since. So There's a lot of potential.
Shock, yeah. That's. I think I saw a picture of that thing actually up in Finner in Donegal. But you think like even every 5 years get another stand-in or something, like just have some sort of progress happening. Like
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, definitely.
It's not great, but
Thanks, John Delaney.
John Delaney, what a man. But well, I think we'll move on to James Mclean, lads. He's been kind of vocal on his Instagram story, and I think he had a few posts and stuff as well about some of the abuse he's been receiving online and some messages that he received as well. I think Darren Randolph came out and supported him. I think David Myler was on Twitter today as well, supporting him. He's highlighted a threat that was sent to him on social media after only a couple of days after he called for an end to anti-Irish abuse. It was on Sunday that he shared an Instagram story with a direct message sent to him, which read, "Don't make me set your house on fire and burn everyone inside it." And it was the fourth in a string of messages sent from the same account, which was just full of other expletives. So he described it as like a water off a duck's back because the amount of abuse he's received over the years has been shocking. But he said one of the messages just crossed the line. So like it's just like it doesn't get any coverage on Sky Sports like compared to it's just not shocking.
Yeah, it's a joke. There's no consistency, like, and obviously I completely like understand like why they're giving a lot more coverage to like Black Lives Matter and stuff, because obviously it is on the whole more prominent, like, but still, like, if you're gonna act, and put like what happened to Ian Wright and stuff like on the media, and then James McLean's literally saying like this is happening to me based on my beliefs, which, may I add, completely valid. And I think that half the people who send them abuse, actually all the people who send them abuse, haven't a clue why he feels that way. Like, and if they did any research into why he feels that way and he believes that, they'd probably, understand. Like, it's just ignorance, really, complete ignorance. Like, but yeah, it is inconsistent, and it's the fact that like he's literally said it for years and nothing's been done. Like, there's no coverage in the media ever. I know he does have a reputation for, obviously, he doesn't help himself in some cases, but I still don't think that's like, a valid reason to not give like any coverage to it, really. Like, so I think it's like, it's just a bit hypocritical, really, like that the media kind of say, oh, we're doing everything we can to, combat online abuse. And obviously there's a lot of that being done recently with the amount of stuff you're seeing, like players getting messaged all the time with racial abuse and stuff. But when McLean's literally saying it's happening to me, there's no coverage. Like, so I don't know. It's annoying. Like,
yeah. Any thoughts yourself, Saka?
Yeah, 100% agree, Griff. There has been like way more coverage about like Black Lives Matter movement because it's probably more prominent. But like a little bit of more coverage about like anti-Irish messages and racism. It is would be nice, kind of like in the English media. Probably, I don't know if any of you saw it. Like Michael D. Higgins wrote a really good piece in The Guardian, I think a week or two ago, just saying how a lot of like some English people and the media and journalists on newspapers and generally they're not taught about their past colonialist history in schools. They're not taught much. Like, I
haven't a clue.
I find it really, really hard to believe if like on their Leaving Cert equivalent course they're taught about like the Troubles or like the British Army storm in Croke Park or the countless atrocities committed by like the Crown forces all across the world over the last few hundred years. So I don't know if it comes down to education, but they're not. A lot of people in England just aren't educated about their own history and their own past, and it's totally different to. I know it might be a wild comparison, but like Nazi Germany, where for 10 or 20 years after
Careful now.
For 10 or 20 years after World War II, like the Nazi movement wasn't talked about at all. But then in German schools, for decades, they were taught about their past history and taught how to accept it and make sure it doesn't happen again. So they carry it and they recognize what they did wrong in the past and they move forward. that's not really the case, I think, in England. They're not taught about any Irish history, really. Colonialism, countless atrocities. So I don't know. It might stem from that, just a lack of education, a lot of ignorance as well. It's a whole different conversation to see what social media companies will do about it. And I think for the victims like James Mclean, I take your point that like one or two of his stories in the past have been pretty dodgy and kind of add ammunition for the people sending him the messages. But it's up to the victim if they want to share the messages, or if they don't, if they just want to pass it on to the police. But yeah, like your heart goes out to him, like to read a message like that when you have two kids and your wife at home. Like it must be very, very scary. And 100% fair play to him for speaking up about it.
Yeah.
Not
just,
sure if
just,
sorry.
Just to jump in quickly on Socko's point, just the last thing I'll say on it, like just like on the point of ignorance, like I remember I was in Portugal and these English lads came up and we were having a good time with them and drinking and stuff with them, and they were just like, after a while, a few of them were like, "Oh yeah, Ireland's basically you're England, like you're part of England," and like me and Dave, another one of the lads, we were looking at him and we were like, Dave is getting proper annoyed, like, and I was just like, just leave it. I was like, honestly, just leave it, because they're just ignorant. Like they don't know, like, and they are not taught in school about their history. They don't even, like, Ireland is one. Think about what happened in India and all these other places they colonized. Like, I'm not going to get too political here, like, but like, and even the media, like, the media are all ran by right wing. Like, they're all my Rupert Murdoch, half of them, who's a complete right wing conservative. Like, you think of the Sun, Daily Express, all these, like, they were calling, like, they're all like love Boris. They don't. I mean, a few years ago, even like 40, 50 years ago, they were saying no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. Like, so what do you expect? Honestly, like, it's shocking the way he's been treated.
And
like.
Another thing as well, like we see it at least once a month. They'd say, like, we always see on Sky Sports and stuff. It's like, oh, at the odd time, like England's Katie Taylor, or like
it's like that's the best one. It's like British Andy Murray wins, and it's like,
Scottish, like.
Yeah, but we see all the time. I know it's not sport, but like Paul Mescal was called English there a while back.
Yeah,
like at least once a month you see an Irish like celebrity or popular person being called English. So yeah, I think a little bit of lack of education and ignorance exists. So yeah, I could probably do a whole different video about it, to be honest.
If you could, I might clip it up and put it up itself. But just
spoiling here.
It's just from being a Wigan fan myself. James Mclean actually donated 15 grand to Wigan Athletic because obviously they've been going through some financial troubles recently, being in administration. And the reason he did that is he's always felt really connected with the club since when he played for them. I don't think any club has really publicly supported him not wearing the poppy. Like, they've not come out and supported him really. But he sat down with Dave Whelan and had like a full-on conversation about why he doesn't wear it and stuff. And Dave Whelan came out and the club came out and fully backed his decision and fully supported him. The fans supported him. He's still like Wigan fans really, really like him to this day. Yeah. So it's probably the one club he's been at where they've properly understood where he's come from. So I'm kind of proud of that in a way. But I suppose it's I don't know. It's just it's horrible just to see the messages. And as you say, he has a wife, he has kids. It's horrible. Like, it's absolutely disgusting. Some of the comments that he gets.
It's scummy, man. It's just scummy.
I actually saw it today, and I hadn't realised the extent of it, and I was reading about it today, and like it's a new low in terms of what I've seen and heard in football. I mean, like, pretty much, people get abuse and whatever, but this is like to actually threaten someone's family, is a new low, and it's at a criminal level almost, and like, there's no doubt about that, and it has to be, person has to be found out and made an example of, because whatever about a bit of banter or whatever, which is what Twitter and Instagram is for or whatever, but like, to take it to this level, it cannot be allowed to happen, basically. And when you see what happened to Ian Wright there, with the racist, the young guy in Kerry, I think it was, Tralee, he went to court, but that might put some people off. But if you see this going unpunished, Because you look at Facebook and things like that, like they're not going to do anything about it. Like they'll come up with some kind of a token statement or whatever. But you know, and you need to stop people. You know, it's easy. Okay, people say, okay, put a credit card in to identify yourself and make an account. But these companies won't do that because it reduces the amount of thoroughfare they have going through their platform. So I think you just have to root of the person who find out who they are, and because that's acceptable. You know, I mean, it's criminality, like, you know. So I mean, I think Mclean is a target because he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's done a few foolish things as well, like as we all know. But nothing merits anything like this. It's another level completely. So I sympathise for the man having to put up with that, because that's, you know, especially you're playing at League One. You don't want that kind of crap playing at League One. You get kicked on a Saturday as well. You don't deserve
You're not
that.
on Premier
you know?
League wages. Yeah, you're not on Premier League wages to soften the blow a little bit, like.
Yeah, but no, I think we've touched on everything we wanted to touch on there. I think that was quite a good chat about that situation, because I think it's good to raise the point as well. It was one of those things. Actually, I saw David Moyler come out and say on Twitter today, I think it was, that he was like, McLean's come out and said Moyler's always supported him in the past, but Moyler actually himself came out and said, I didn't support him enough previously, and I don't agree with everything he's done. I think like there's the history lesson, I think, was one example of something stupid he's done before, but that he does like support him, and that's a lot of the stuff he's been receiving is completely unacceptable. And Randolph has come out as well, but you'd like to see like nearly the whole team and the whole Irish squad, because maybe that's been lacking in the past. But I think that's everyone said what they wanted to say on that. So we might just move on to a situation. Actually, Griff, obviously a while back, me and you did an interview with Robbie from AFTV ahead of the Dundalk Arsenal game when they were drawn in the same group for the Europa League. And I'll take this off the screen. And basically, a YouTuber, Togden, some people mightn't be aware of him. I think he does like Premier League videos and stuff like that. Has come out and said that he asked Robbie to do, I think it was for a prediction video for the Premier League weekend games or something like that, and he asked Robbie to come on. Robbie demanded a fee to come on his channel. So we can only speak from our experience. Obviously, we don't know what went down there. We can't really judge it from either side, but we can only speak from our experience in that I believe it was the day after deadline day, so it would have been a very busy day for Robbie, and he gave us a half an hour of his time, and there was no mention of a fee, nothing like that. We wouldn't have paid a fee, realistically, like a contract. Time was so sound to us, so nice to us, such a nice thing to do for a small channel. He didn't need to get back to us at all. Like, so, speaking from our experience, we can only say positive things about him, really.
Yeah, I'll just add as well, like, I mean, the way the guy came on, like Togden, the way he was speaking, it was almost like he was making it up on the spot. That's just from what I got. He's, I'll tell you something about Robbie. And then as soon as he's started telling the story, he was kind of escalating, making the situation in his head. Like, obviously, he might be telling the truth, and if he is, I hold my hands up and say, fair enough. However, though, as Ross said, like we literally messaged them via Twitter, and within like a day or two, they got back and we had it all organized. He came on, exactly what Ross said. You know, Arsenal had just signed Thomas Partey, so it was pretty busy for him. Like, he took a half an hour of his time. He was so sound to us. Like, he was like, yeah, whatever you want to do, we can do. And he's known for it. Like, he's known for going on other people's channels. Like, if you look on on his channel, you'll see he does videos with other small YouTubers. And there's other small YouTubers he have, like, I mean, they have fan TVs for other clubs and stuff, which he'll do for. And I've never ever heard of him charging a fee. Like, even when we asked him a question, he said like, "Thanks so much." I think it was like something along the lines of "Thanks so much for coming on," and like, you know, do you like seeing? Do you like building up other channels and stuff? And he basically said, "Yeah, I like this. Is why I like coming on and doing these kind of shows, because you know, I like to see that, you know, he didn't create, but like what I started, kind of like, you know, helping others, you know, get that start." And there was never ever a mention of a fee or anything. He doesn't really have an ego from what I've seen and from what Ross has seen. So I don't know. I think your man Togden like is just talking out his hole, or he's looking for clickbait, looking for views. Like,
I saw the video. I saw the video.
I sent Togden an email today. To see would he come on the show here. I mean, he wanted $2.5 grand on LOI TV or something. You haven't got that kind of money, man. Sorry.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Very
Yeah,
good, very good. But yeah,
Bring back
the
Robbie.
video.
We'll bring back Robbie, no problem.
free of charge.
At the end of the day, it's Robbie's full-time job. He's carved out a living from it. And if he wants to charge a fee, he's perfectly entitled to charge a fee. And the way your man Togden came across so entitled and like really like shocked that he'd asked for a fee. He just came across like a total twat, to be honest. Like,
yeah, well, he was just making it up as he goes along as well. Like, and if Robbie did ask to charge him a fee, it's probably because he thinks you're a knob, Togden. Like, and you do seem like you're a knob. Like, so that's probably why he charged a fee. Like, if I'm coming on this channel, I'm asking for money. Like, and do you know what, Robbie? Fair play to you. Like, honestly, get that bread. Like,
Get the bag. Get the bag.
Get the bag. Like.
Irish Footy Vlog said that Togden constantly puts up clickbait, which obviously we were touching on there. But Robbie went on Keith's channel as well, which is brilliant. And I think he actually had Keith on his own channel, AFTV, which is brilliant as well. Got him loads of subscribers and stuff. And I can't speak for Keith, but I'm really sure he didn't ask Keith for a fee to go on Irish Footy Vlogs' channel. And yeah, he's always seemed like a lovely fella. And if he did ask for a fee, as you said, Griff, it can only be for certain reasons. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of them, isn't it?
It's a weird one. Like.
Yeah, it's a strange one. But listen, as Keith said here, Robbie was fine. So yeah,
all good.
You don't hear like bad stories ever. I asked for a million up front.
Cash only.
We will hope to get Keith on the live show actually within the next couple of weeks actually, so that'd be great to have a chat with him about the league coming up. But I suppose we'll just move on from that to talking about, I think we've actually more or less covered everything. We're coming up just past the hour mark, so I think we're nearly all good. Luke Joyce is in here saying love the live show. Love to see that. I'll just go through a few of the comments that we've seen. So Togden needs to start acting his age. Seems like a decent lad, but seems a bit annoying at times.
Yeah, completely annoying. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, like I remember, like I commented on the TikTok. Like I seen a TikTok, and I was like, Robbie would never do that. Like I was like defending him. Like no one, obviously no one's seeing it because there's like 2,000 comments on it. But I'm like here defending Robbie like he's my son. Like. It just struck a nerve with me though, just because just the experience that we had with him was just like it was so not like that. So that's why it just struck a nerve, and the way he was coming across, I was like, oh, you're either talking shite or you're just looking for attention. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. It just annoyed me.
Chelsea 2-0 up, if anyone's wondering.
Little watch along. We're getting a few questions in actually at the moment. So do you think Bows have a good chance of a run going in Europe?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, I think, losing a few players like Danny Grant and Andre Wright, could be detrimental, but hopefully with the signs they've got in, they have a decent run. Like you've seen Dundalk has a decent run going to the Europa League. I'm not sure, to be honest, if the Conference League's this season or next season, but they would definitely have a decent chance at getting a good run at that, like 100%. But I mean, I would love to see it as well. Like, I'd love to see any. To be honest, like the more Irish teams in Europe there are, the better, because more money coming into the league eventually. Ultimately, like I think Bows, they're all a year older as well, which the year experience playing in the Premier League. So I think they have a decent chance. Like
with Europe, the thing about it is there's so much like luck involved. You look at Shamrock Rovers, whereas Dundalk got an Andorran side, a Moldovan side, and a Faroese side on the way to the group stage.
Yeah.
There's a lot of luck involved. Thoughts on Bows signing Bradley Rolt on loan from Peterborough? This is obviously a striker. Socko, your pal Keith Long, you were serving in Central there a few weeks back. He was obviously talking about wanting to get a striker in, and they have done that with this one. It's a loan deal. I won't lie, I've never even heard of the fella before in my life. I doubt any views have you?
Yeah, same here. But like, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Keith was saying, or like, badly need to sign a striker. I think even Dinny was mentioned. He might get him back for a year. But Yeah, to be honest, I haven't seen him before, but like the more strikers they have, the better, I suppose. I think the way Keith was talking, I think they only had 1 or 2 at the time. So you probably have 1 or 2 more signed by the league kickoff.
Yeah, definitely. Any idea of the prize money in the Conference League? I've not.
Nope.
I think this is, by the way, completely based on my experience of playing Football Manager, because my first year managing Bows, I took them to the quarterfinal Europa Conference League. A bit of an achievement. Lost to Rangers.
Is that competition in Football Manager, is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's EL too. Like it's been high for a while. Like But it's lower than Europa League, but not significantly lower than Europa League. I think it might be the equivalent.
So third tier European.
Yeah, it might be the equivalent for, like, if you get a draw in Europa League is the equivalent of getting a win in the Conference League, and I think it might be like 90 grand for a draw or something. That's, again, completely based on Football Manager. I haven't really a clue, but I'd say it will be similar enough. Like
90 grand for
sorry, say that again.
90 grand for a draw.
Jesus, definitely. Like, yeah, I mean, if you can qualify for it, like, it's money in the bank. Like, it's going to help smaller teams, I hope. So yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, someone asking what is the Conference League? It's just like it's the lower below the Europa League. Like, this is another European competition where the lower teams might have a chance to progress further. How long before Jack Byrne is back in Tala?
Not long. Like, I think he's injured, to be honest, at the moment, isn't he? Like,
yeah, I think possibly. Yeah. Opinion on Jamie Wynn signing from Dundalk to Cork City. Yeah, young, talented forward. I think he's a winger. Can play through the middle as well. He looks like a good young player. I think he made his debut. I think it was a Shamrock Rovers game, I think, when they lost 4-0 or whatever. But then he also came on against Arsenal in the Europa League, which have been some experience for him. So I was kind of surprised to see Dundalk let him go permanently, because he does look like a good young player. But to move to Cork, it's one of them where you move to a huge club, so it's a big opportunity to really make something happen at a big club, but during the first division as well. So he'd want to kind of start off well there. But he is a talented player. And the last player that moved from Dundalk to Cork, not the last player, but the last kind of striker, big name striker, Shawnee Maguire, didn't do too badly. So hopefully he does just as well.
Yeah.
Here we go, Patrick Griffin. Robbie put the video on 55 minutes ago. Basically said Togden DM'd him saying sorry and all for calling him.
What a knob, like.
What? Did he call him a prick?
Yeah, he's like, oh, Robbie's a prick and all. Like, he was like, Ben Foster came to my channel, and this fella came to my channel for free. Robbie's a prick and all. The dad's just sitting there. It's like, really? Oh my god!
His dad's episode was so funny. Yeah.
Your dad, like, he's about 50. Like,
he got a proper job. Like,
so funny.
Very joke. Robbie said he'd never even. Don Robbie.
Don Robbie, man.
We should do that with Neil now, shouldn't we?
Don't say his name. Can anyone else see Bows win the double this season? Or is it just me?
It's probably
just you because you're Bows, man. But, best of luck to you.
I hope so. That would be nice.
Actually, yeah, because when we were talking about John Egan's injury there, a fellow saying Nathan Collins, Conor Masterson, Clark Duffy and O'Shea. But Nathan Collins, I think, came off injured there recently as well, actually.
He did, yeah. He went off on the weekend. Not sure if it's a serious injury, but yeah, Jesus, bit of a shame as well. And we were actually only talking about him last week because he's been having a pretty good season, like, for Stoke, and we were saying he's potentially getting into that first team now. But yeah, he was stretched off. I'm actually just having a quick look here, like. Yeah. He's only 19, so hopefully, even if it's hopefully not a too bad injury, but hopefully, he's still kicked back fairly quickly. Like, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it just says hopefully not too serious. Like, so I don't know.
Opinion on Dundalk's transfers: risky or ambitious? They're making signing a lot of players from abroad. So the goalkeeper is Albanian, the left back is Latvian, centre half is Faroese. So they're all kind of like, and I think they signed that striker actually, the classic, wasn't it? So they're quite risky in terms of it's always a punt to take bringing in kind of unknown quantities. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they get on. Like they could really take off like a house on fire, or they could just be pretty like average. Like it's hard to know, isn't it? But I think it has to go down as a risk.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's usually you don't actually see that many foreign players coming into the League of Ireland. Really, you get a few players coming in from abroad, like 1 or 2, but like 4 or 5. I don't know. It'd be interesting. Dundalk have a pretty tight knit team as it is. Like they've retained a lot of players from last season, which is good. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they all fit.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg White, Dylan McCall wants to know when he can make an appearance on the channel.
Anytime. Hop on.
Yeah, let's do it. Whatever happened to Dan Carr? Left for, I actually have no idea. That's a good question. Where is he now? Like, he was a decent player, actually, wasn't he? Back in his day. Did he go to Apua Nicosia? Actually, no, I don't think so.
I have no idea. Like,
I don't think
I'm actually having a look here. Like, well, he's playing for like. That's very weird. Like, last played in the Finnish Premier League division. So,
he's not Finnish.
Shut up. Yeah, playing in the Finnish league, and he's made 4 caps for Trinidad and Tobago since 2019. So yeah,
fair play
to him. Yeah, Jesus,
good, yeah.
Not too bad. Like,
the Latvian and Faroese play for their national teams on a regular basis. Yeah, that's a good sign. Definitely, I think I heard that actually. Yeah, that's a good sign for sure. And apparently, what else is this on the screen? Views. He got released from Cyprus, I think, free agent, which is an interesting one. So,
I mean, he's gone to Finland, or he's got released from Finland. I'm pretty sure. Like.
He's not Finnish. He's only 28. So,
say it again. Yeah, say it again.
Speaking of Finnish, I think we might wrap this up.
Brilliant.
We'll try to get Mark in. Just want to thank Mark for coming on the show today. I'm not sure if you can hear us, Mark.
Cheers, Mark.
Technical Mark.
Throughout the show, but we got to hear him talk about Treaty United situation and a few other bits and bobs as well, which was good. And we'll definitely get him back on as well. I'm not sure if you can hear us, Mark. Are you able to hear us?
No, he's doing absolutely not.
If we all do a thumbs up, we might be able to.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I'm just trying to. My laptop's about to die here. But I think we'll probably call it there. But yeah, if you don't mind, guys, can we hit the like? I'm not sure how many likes we have, but can we hit 50? That's the aim. Does anyone want to pull up how many we have?
Yeah, I'll check now.
Soccer's on it.
Boys, I'm guessing
21,
40,
21,
42.
I think.
21.
21.
Nearly halfway there.
We're 24 now.
24, lovely. If you don't mind hitting the like button, it is greatly appreciated. And we will keep Cautiously Optimistic coming every Monday at 8 o'clock. Your Monday nights start right here on LOI TV. Please subscribe as well on the road to 3K. We appreciate all your support. Mark, I'm not sure if you can hear us, but thanks so much for joining us today. It's just the regulars.
Thanks,
appreciate it, boys.
Right. See you later.
Yes, next Monday at 8. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in a bit.